Every person we observe has one moment they never speak of. This is one of those moments.
Welcome to Displaced. I'm your host, Mara Saleh, and that, of course, is Dr. Henrik Voss, the man leading these incredible and often unsettling temporal experiments. Henrik, today's file is number 14, What She Built With It, a Moroccan master builder from the 14th century, displaced into a museum full of objects from her own tradition with her mathematics on the walls and her name on nothing in it.
That is exactly what happened, and exactly the problem. Her name is Fatima, 38 years old, a master builder and architect in Fez, Morocco, approximately 1350 AD. She has spent 4 years directing the restoration of a mosque arcade. Her design, her mathematical specifications, her project. She is on the site overseeing the final phase when she is displaced.
Where does she arrive?
The Louvre, the Islamic Art galleries. A large, beautifully lit room full of objects from the exact tradition she works within. Tilework, metalwork, textiles, architectural fragments. Objects from her century, from her region, from the specific technical lineage she was trained in.
She would have recognized them.
Immediately, from how she moved through it. Not the specific pieces, but from her behavior in that room. The way she paused at certain objects, the way her hands moved toward the cases. What we observed was consistent with someone reading a familiar vocabulary. The geometric decision-making, the proportional systems. Someone with her training would know all of it. She walked slowly, case to case. She held her hands toward the glass at every display and stopped just short, the gesture of someone accustomed to evaluating work through touch, being denied it.
What happened when she found the arcade model?
She stopped for approximately 3 minutes. She looked at the proportions, the geometric relationships. Her restoration records, which survive, show she was working with almost the same ratios. She stood very still. Then she looked for the label.
She couldn't read it.
She couldn't read it. She gestured to a museum guard, pointed at the label, then at herself. The gesture of a craftsman asserting relevance. He smiled politely and moved on. She watched him go. Then her expression changed.
What was she feeling?
Not what you might assume. She was not angry about being unattributed. Women's work in her tradition has always been unattributed. She knew this before she started. She made peace with it early, and it had not stopped her from doing the work for 4 years.
So what was it?
She was standing next to work that someone with her exact training could read in detail that no one else in that room could approach. And there was no mechanism in that room, no label, no guide, nothing that would allow her to establish that she was relevant to what she was looking at.
The work survived, but she didn't come with it.
The work was there, valued, behind glass in the Louvre, and she was standing next to it, completely invisible to it. What we observed after that was anger before grief. She walked to the window, turned her back on the gallery. That's my reading of the sequence. Whether she was using one to hold off the other, I can't say for certain.
She couldn't stand next to it.
She couldn't stand next to it and be invisible. That was where the equipment found her.
She came back mid-stance?
Back straight. Back to the restoration site. The workers said she returned without comment and went straight back to work. They said she was, if anything, more precise than usual that afternoon, more deliberate in every measurement.
She put it somewhere it would last.
She put it into the arcade, which is exactly where it belongs.
What happened to the arcade?
She completed it in 1353. It stands today. It is considered one of the finest examples of that architectural form from its period. Cited in scholarly literature, photographed, studied.
Her name?
Not on it. There is one surviving reference to her, a notation in a colleague's personal letter discovered in the 1980s. It reads, "Fatima finished the arcade. It is the finest work in the city. She says she built it to last, and it will. The letter names no other architect on the project."
One line in someone else's letter.
The arcade has centuries left in it, probably more than 1,000 years. The letter has her name. The building has her mathematics in every stone of it. That is the record. That is what was kept.
Was it cruel, putting her there?
I have asked myself that.
And?
She saw the work survive. She saw it valued, preserved, studied, placed behind glass in the Louvre. She saw, in specific geometric detail, that she was uniquely positioned to read that her mathematics were correct. 800 years of evidence that she had got it exactly right.
She also had to stand next to it completely invisible.
Yes.
She turned away from it. She couldn't hold both things at once.
She couldn't stand next to work she understood completely and be invisible next to it. That is a real cost. I don't minimize it.
Was the proof worth that cost?
She went back to the restoration and worked more precisely than she had all week. I think she knew what she'd seen was the answer to something she'd been carrying, whether the work was worth it. She had her answer. She just couldn't share it with anyone in that room, or in any room.
That's its own kind of loneliness.
That is exactly the kind of loneliness this case is about. She built something that will stand for 1,000 years. She has one line in someone else's letter to show for it. That is the record. That is what was kept. She was angry. She had every right to be. She turned away from it and went back to work. Those two things are not in conflict. You can be furious at what was taken and still give everything you have to the next thing. The anger doesn't stop the building. Sometimes the anger is the reason the building is that good. The loneliest kind of anger is not about injustice. It is about being unable to prove you were there.